Hey nurses, looking for exclusive discounts? Nurse.org has you covered with deals on everything. Save big on the essentials you need to excel in your career. Don't miss out. Visit nurse.org/discounts for the latest discounts made just for you. You're listening to Nurse Converse, presented by Nurse.org, a collaborative podcast amplifying diverse nurse voices. Get ready for a dose of inspiration, a sprinkle of education, and a whole lot of community.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Nurse Converse podcast. My name is Raquél, and today I will be your host. A little background on me. I am a TEDx speaker, a Forbes Fellow, former Chief Nursing Officer, and current advisor at Stand Shoes, and of course, a registered nurse. I'm super happy to be here, and today I'll be talking all things wellness with the very talented, very lovely founder of She Can Be Both and CEO of Healthcare Strong. You know her as Nurse Georgie, but I know her as my incredible friend. Georgie, thank you for joining us today. It's so great to have you.
Thank you, Raquel. I miss you, and I'm so excited to do this podcast with you today.
Yes, same here. I couldn't think of a better person to co-host this with. When it comes to all things wellness, you are the person. So I know you have your journey as a nurse that transitioned into your entrepreneurial journey. I want to kind of give credit to both, but start off by telling us your background, where you started as a nurse, and what made you want to branch out.
Yeah, love it. So I've been a nurse for already 8 years. It's gone by super fast. I'm the first nurse in my family. I am a proud Latina nurse, a part of the growing 6 or 7% by now. I have my master's degree in nursing. And for me, I was always in love with science and art. And so there was no nurses in my family, but my brother and I are 15 years apart. And so when she got pregnant again, I was going to a lot of appointments with her and I was meeting nurses everywhere. And it was during that year where I was transitioning to college where I also met a hospice nurse, and my great grandma had been suffering with leukemia. And I just fell in love with this job, and it was a challenge for me, and one that I'm really proud of because it took me almost 8 years to finish my bachelor and my master's degree in nursing. But
Props.
thank you. Health has always been a passion for me, health and wellness. And I was a competitive athlete, a soccer player most of my life. So it's been amazing to make a career out of it.
That's awesome. I know most people in the profession of nursing have either a relative or a story where they were changed by a healthcare worker and inevitably wanted to become part of the profession. So thank you for sharing your story. I know personally, I knew you through social media. You had started She Could Be Both. It was such a beautiful movement about how women are more than just one thing. And it spurred from the healthcare profession and all of our multitudes. I want to touch briefly upon what that movement meant to you and what She Could Be Both meant to you, and how that kind of catapulted your either the influencing world or even just your entrepreneurial shift.
Yeah. So She Can Be Both was a hashtag I started, I believe, after my second year in nursing. And I was sipping margaritas with 2 other nurses post shift. And we were one of the nurses. She had taken sexy photos in her bikini and she didn't want to post them. She goes, I wish I could post these online, because she was a professional model and she was a John Hopkins nurse. So here you have this like amazing, smart, intelligent woman, but also embracing her femininity, her beauty, and her strength. And she was terrified of posting it online. And I was like, you are a nurse and a model. Like, you are both, like that. You are not just one thing. Nursing is not your only identity. And I asked her, I go, can I post it? Can I post your photo? And she said, yeah, Georgie, sure. So I posted it for her to ease her whatever fear she had. And it was so funny because I had asked other women to do it, other nurses and healthcare workers to do it. And that hashtag went viral. My account grew 7,000 followers in that week. And that was like the first little hint of like, wow, look at the power of social media and the power of having a relatable story. And for me, that was probably the beginning of my marketing consulting job, because then people notice that like I love to share stories and I love to build community. And She Can Be Both is storytelling and community. It's women who relate with having dual careers, and we're so multifaceted. It's such a beautiful testament to what women can do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's how I found you as a person and influencer on social, and got to know you because I just loved the message behind empowering women to be more than one thing. And because it was focused in the beginning on healthcare, that also spoke to me. And I think a lot of other people who are familiar with your brand. And so then after that, we saw your transition and how health started to play a really important role in the way that you showed up on social. You were very open and honest about your wellness journey as a nurse, your progress, seeing personal trainers, and then eventually that did transition into Healthcare Strong. So I want you to tell us a little bit about what made you passionate and motivated to start this brand, because you did go on your own personal wellness journey, like I said, but to start a brand is a whole other thing. So what has that been like? What really made you motivated to begin that journey? And what does it mean to be a nurse leader in this space, making that change? I know that's a lot, but we can break it down.
Yeah. Beautiful. So I would say, so after I did the 2 years of my, first 2 years of nursing were in medical surgical oncology. And I knew right away that I wanted to be a travel nurse. That was always a goal of mine, to do travel nursing. And so I did my first travel assignment in Chicago. And I was there for about a year until the lockdown happened, as we all know, COVID. And it was during this time where I actually wasn't even, after my travel nurse assignment, I was working for Holly Blue. And Holly Blue was a nurse tech startup. And here I am doing marketing and building community for a nurse app. And I fell in love with it. But I also, the stress of COVID and everything else, I was working from home, I was working remote, all the gyms got shut down. I was ordering a lot of deep dish pizza. My health,
there.
yeah, my health took a very fast decline, as did a lot of people. And then after a year of that, I wanted to go back into travel nursing to help. And so I did travel nursing. So I had a whole year of remote nursing and then a whole year of travel nursing during the pandemic. And I kid you not, I gained in those 2 years 20, 25 pounds. My health was at its lowest, and I was trying to find a way to get my strength back, get my energy back, get my confidence back.
Right.
And it was during this time where I found an online health coach. And I was just scrolling Instagram and I was just like, I need to find someone who does fitness, but I didn't have time as a travel nurse to go to like personal training, which was the old school way. And I was like, let me try online fitness coaching. And the way that I found this person was like through a referral, and I saw his transformations and I was like, I look like that girl. I think I can get the same transformation. Yeah, I ended up paying a good chunk of money. I didn't know online health coaching was so expensive, but I was like, it's my health, let me invest. And I followed his plan. He was a fitness and nutrition coach for less than 4 months, and I got in the best shape of my life. Like,
Love that.
I followed the meal plan, I followed the workout plan, and I fell in love with fitness. And this whole time, I was sharing my journey online. Like, everyone saw my meal plans, everyone saw my workouts. I was bringing my community along with me very organically. I was just sharing everything that I was learning. And that was the start of Healthcare Strong. And so many things came out of my testimony, because I realized at the time that nurses and healthcare workers needed something like this for us. And even though my trainer and my coach was amazing, he did not understand my 12-hour shifts. He did not understand that I couldn't eat 5 to 6 meals during my 12-hour shift.
Right.
He did not understand that I couldn't make the gym because I was just so drained and tired. And so there was an opportunity for me to make his program better, but doing it by helping nurses and having me as the avatar, as we like to say, And I was able to use my journey and create. It used to be called She Can Be Buff.
I remember
that was
that.
Yeah. So She Can Be Buff is, I onboarded, I want to say like 50 to 80 clients during that time. And then I started partnering with nurse brands, and I won also Nurses Are Male.
Yes.
So that was that's when I transitioned to not just She Can Be Buff, but I created Healthcare Strong. And then Healthcare Strong was born, and we offer everything from fitness, nutrition, and mental health resources for healthcare workers.
Love that. I think what is so important that you said is how the nurse is reinvesting into themselves, right? Like we exist in a space where we are caring for other people's health, obviously, healthcare. However, and I can speak to this for my own self, there are so many times where it's really difficult to put yourself first and prioritize, especially when it's really difficult to be working 12-hour shifts, night shift, to be exhausted, to have compassion fatigue. And there's a mental and a physical thing at play here. So, with Healthcare Strong, I feel like this is such a beautiful way for nurses and really anyone in healthcare to be able to reinvest in themselves. Like you said, this is a nurse resource for getting healthy for the nurse so that it's back to your own health. So just wanted to bring it back to the app and the things that are on it, the resources. Why are they so important, and what can nurses benefit on the app?
Yeah. So I think a lot of people know this post COVID, but there is a healthcare worker crisis out there. And especially post COVID, nurses are suffering from the most burnout. Vivian Healthcare Workforce, they put out a report just at the beginning of this year with American Nurses Association, and the stats were they were scary. Like 83% of nurses were experiencing burnout. Anywhere from 46 to 55%, higher in Gen Z, were experiencing depression. They were reporting clinical depression. And almost 50% of the healthcare workforce wanted to leave the field or have
Wow.
already left the field. I'm one of them. And one of the biggest reasons Healthcare Strong is for companies is because over 80% of those that reported burnout said that their employers were not introducing anything to prevent burnout or to help with employee wellness. And that to me is the mission of Healthcare Strong, is to give healthcare companies the resource and the tool and the solution to help with the burnout and the crises that we have here, which is nurses are burnt out and nurses are leaving the field. Like that's a
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
So many nurses that I know, you included, me included, that are amazing. Like they want us in the hospitals, but it's like we feel called to leave sometimes, to help in a bigger way or a bigger mission because nothing's being done in the hospital for our mental health.
Right.
And nurses are starting to leave to improve their mental health because they just can't see themselves living like that much longer. And so I really am advocating for this and just giving nurses and healthcare workers the tools to, have more energy on shift and be equipped with the resources needed, especially in the first couple of years when you're a new grad and you see death for the first time. You see
Right.
all the trauma for the first time. You experience nurse bullying and you just go home feeling so depleted, so burnt out, wondering like, what the heck did I get myself into?
Yeah. No, it's so true. I mean, I still remember the first time I ever saw a patient pass away. That memory, I mean, I wasn't there in the room, but I had a patient that I grew really close to. Came back the following week, was asking, what happened, how was her progress? And when I found out that she had passed, that was a really, really hard time for me. It was a very emotionally tasking time. And then when I did, partake in afterlife care, that was really hard. And I was a brand new nurse, probably had been nursing for a year when those events happened. And there weren't resources. I mean, I could have gone to therapy. That obviously costs money. It wasn't a therapy led by my hospital. There wasn't, extra groups that were advertised. I luckily had my peers to lean on. But sometimes, man, like it is really hard, even still with people who know what you're going through. Like I said, I can still remember her to this day, what we talked about the day that it happened. So I think it is important to recognize how hard it can be for new grad nurses, especially, to come into a profession that is really exhausting. It's very taxing. It's hard on your body. It's hard on your mind. And being able to provide support is super, super necessary. And that's why, healthcare strong is so important. And that's why I love what you do specifically, because imagine if I was able to look at your resource when I had it back in the day, as I started as a nurse, where I was also taking care of my physical well-being and my mental. That would have made a huge, huge difference. And I think it
Yeah.
will in the stats.
And it's not just, pre and post shift. So imagine you just had your first patient in death and you can go on an app and listen to a mantra, listen to a
Mhm.
meditation, listen to a breath work, specifically personalized to a nurse or to a healthcare worker that just experienced death. And we have trauma, and breathwork facilitators on the app that are ready to do that with you and take you through a breathwork or a meditation that will just take a few minutes, because I know we don't have 15 or 20 minutes either. We
Right.
might have a few minutes. One of my inspirations for having the well-being section of the app was, yes, Calm is an amazing app, meditation app, but it's like there's no meditation specifically for nurses. Like, what if there was something that we can listen to help calm down our breathing, after we're having an emotional breakdown at work? I remember when I was a new nurse, the first 2 months I was working, I had a patient threaten to kill me,
Mm.
threaten to kill my family, and I was crying. I was bawling
Yeah,
on night shift in
yeah.
the bathroom by myself because I was so scared in that
Yeah.
moment. And my manager did nothing.
Hmm.
He did nothing but tell the patient that he apologized to the patient if I
Oh.
had yelled at him. And instead of protecting me, he protected the patient because, there's reports at the end of the month and we need to make sure that we get good reviews. And so it was at that moment where I was like, wow, I'm kind of alone here. I
Yeah.
need to make sure that I have the resources or the tools in my toolbox to take care of me. And so that's something that I'm working very, very hard on with specialists and especially healthcare workers who can help us through that process while we're at work or on the way to work or even after work before we go home. So many opportunities to reflect.
Nurse.org and Major League Sports teams are honoring nurses with discounted game tickets and once-in-a-lifetime experiences. From throwing the first pitch to riding the Zamboni to on-court recognition, join the fun. Visit nurse.org/nurse night to find a nurse appreciation event near you and grab your discounted tickets today.
You've been touching on it a little bit, but I want you to walk me through what Healthcare Strong looks like, the platform looks like, and why you decided to institute those specific resources, maybe even like the platform itself, how it looks. What was your thought process behind it and what can people expect?
Yeah, so this has been probably now a 3.5 year journey. As mentioned, I was travel nursing. I did my own online health coaching program. I transitioned into I saved all my travel nursing money and hired a business coach. And it took me about 4 months to go full time to online health coaching, and I did that for almost 2 years. And
Mhm.
through my online health coaching and coaching hundreds of nurses and healthcare workers, I help them, with weight loss or strengthening their bodies in about 3 to 4 months. Most of them hit their goals. And so,
Wow.
but to do this, we included fitness, so workouts for them, nutrition, so teaching them meal plans, wellness resources. And that's just like healthy habits in general, learning how to set routines for yourself or learning how to have something for stress relief,
Mhm.
making sure nurses had self-care days, just things like that,
Right.
introducing breath work and things that are new even to me that I learned. But basically those three foundations, so fitness, nutrition, well-being, and then everything that I used and all the software programs that I use, because I think to run my business I was using about 4 software programs,
Mhm.
and my nurses and healthcare workers were having to use a few different apps. And to me, I was just like, there has to be an easier way
Right.
to coach my clients so that they don't have to have 3 different apps and all these resources. And of course, entrepreneur Nurse.org is like, I'm going to make it. So
Why not?
yeah. So again, all the money that I saved with my online health coaching program, I reinvested into technology. And I had thankfully, lots of mentorship here. One of my old mentors, Kara Lunsford, she had her tech acquired. One of my other mentors, Mike Linares, he had his tech acquired. And these are nurse entrepreneurs. So got some feedback there, started building my own app and technology. And yeah, it's been 16 months in the process. It's been a long time already building it, but we're so close to beta launch. I'm so happy. And what we have here is a perfect combination of like your favorite fitness app, your favorite nutrition app, MyFitnessPal, and your favorite meditation app, Calm, all in one. So anyone who comes here will have fitness, will have nutrition, will have mental health, and they will have community. We just launched our community called Healthcare Strong Academy, which is going to be a community where you can learn all of these things on your own time, self-paced, all the healthy habits that we teach about, not just the fitness and nutrition, but the sleep and recovery and supplements and routines, things like that. And I'm really excited to have like master classes and just really bring people together because community is what I love. I just want to have like a space also where nurses can also become health coaches, because I actually transitioned very easily into a nurse health coach. I think as nurses, we are always wearing so many hats. You're like the teacher and the mentor and the instructor and like the scientist and like, you're an assistant sometimes. Like you wear all these hats, and it's actually really good for business.
Yeah.
And so I eventually will teach nurses how to become nurse health coaches. And I've been asked a lot already, but I have to stay focused and like just launch the app because I want to do all the things all the time. But yeah, I'm really excited. It's going to be amazing. So it's basically your all-in-one wellness tool. And I actually have, so not a lot of people know this, but it was my mission that nurses and healthcare workers didn't pay for the app when I launched. And so what I did was I created, instead of a direct-to-consumer model, I created a B2B model. So this is business to business. And I am going to be reaching out to healthcare companies. This includes travel nurse agencies to start. And I actually just reached out to, we have our first beta client, travel nurse agency that's going to start with us. And this is travel nurse agencies that are actually investing in the health of their nurses. So they're saying, I care about you. I care about your health and wellness. I'm going to pay for you to have access to the app. And that was really important to me. And let's see how it goes. So I'm basically going to start there. I'm going to start with the agencies. And obviously, North Star is to get Healthcare Strong into the hospitals.
Yes. Congratulations. That is so amazing. I mean, I love watching your journey. It's been so cool to see, especially as someone who I look up to immensely. Like seeing your progression has been awesome. And I'm on the platform, y'all, so join as well.
Yeah.
I think a lot of what you said resonated. I know it does for me. I'm sure a lot of listeners will feel the same way too. But I mean, it's funny how we're in healthcare, and I myself am still learning so much about my own health and wellness, like sleep, you had mentioned. That's a huge part of lowering stress. It determines the entirety of our day, keeping out, healthy weight, whatnot, etc. But so many times I was not sleeping just because the purity of the job and just how that goes in the culture, working night shift. So there's so much that I'm still learning. And it took, I don't even know, probably last year, really going through my own personal journey of like, okay, this is how I should go about my day. These are the habits, like you had mentioned, of bringing to work and meal prepping so that I'm eating food. I think all of that is really obvious and important, but it's really difficult when you work a job like we do where you don't necessarily have the time. So being able to have everything all in one, I just think is really incredible and amazing.
Yeah, thank you. And I want it to be easy. I know that nurses and healthcare workers don't have a lot of time. So these are really quick 20-minute at-home workouts with no gym equipment. Really easy meal prep for someone who doesn't know how to cook.
Right.
Because nurses can save lives, but they still can't, cook.
Yeah.
So I coach so many ICU. Oh my gosh, I coach so many ICU nurses who would be like, I burn my eggs or I burn my cream of wheat, just so funny. It's such a joke, but like, yeah, it's like, we're busy doing other things. And so how do I make it easy and how do I make it more accessible for our community? And I think and one of the reasons why this is so important to me is because when I started embodying health and when I started putting my health first, my sleep, my fitness, my nutrition, everything else kind of dominoed positively in my life. Like not only did I get in the best shape of my life, but I had the most confidence and I had the most energy, but like I slept better.
Right.
My business skyrocketed probably because I had more energy throughout the day and I was very efficient throughout the day because I had to follow my schedule and I had to follow my meals and I didn't burn out. I didn't crash anymore. I was happier probably because everything else was falling into place, like I was attracting a lot of good things in my life. And I truly believe it was because I was putting my health first and embodying wellness. And so I just want to give that same like cheat code back to the world. And I'm like, if you just focus on your health, everything else will kind of fall into place. I promise you.
Right. As I'm listening to you talk, I'm just thinking to myself, like, this is why it makes such a difference for a nurse to be in the position that you're in versus somebody who has an alternative background. But to have a nurse leader working in a space for nurses, I think is very empowering. So what has that been like for you? And what does that mean to you to like be leading the change as someone who has walked those steps?
Yeah, it's easy for me to do it because I love to do it. And, there are a lot of other health coaches out there. But again, I hired that health coach and they didn't understand a nurse's demands and they didn't
Right.
understand a nurse's schedule. So I enjoy staying in the nurse niche, in the nurse space and having the answers. It is nice when someone says, well, what did you do? And then I can, explain it that way. And nurses, I say this all the time, but nurses love nurses. Nurses love healthcare because it's because when you meet them, we're just like, you know what
Yeah,
I
of
go
course.
through, And so I get that question a lot actually is like, what makes your app different, than any other fitness, nutrition, wellness app? And it really is that we are founded by a nurse and healthcare workers, but that we put everything is personalized and customized to the nurse and the problems. And we're finding solutions specifically for nurses and healthcare workers in the workforce. So I really am going to make it my mission and my goal to speak to our community and be implementing solutions as the problems come, right? And that's something that I'm really, really excited to do.
I love that. I have one more question for you. If you could say one thing to your brand new nurse version of yourself, so just graduated, new to the profession, in terms of your health and wellness, what would you say to Georgie then?
I would tell new grad Georgie to never skip meals and to never skip meals, to eat my adequate protein. Okay. So figure out what my protein is and really start with protein because it can really add so much energy and muscle to my body and it'll really help me decrease like the weight gain and lethargy that I had as a nurse. And so to that nutrition is 80% of hitting your health and wellness goals. 80%. It's not
That's a lot.
fitness, it's not anything else. It's literally the food that you put in your body. So don't skip out on meals and eat enough protein.
I love that. I know I said that was my last, but I'm going to ask you another thing. Is there anything else in terms of healthcare strong or even just in general when it comes to well-being for the nurse that you want our listeners to know?
I want them to know that there is a community that understands them and wants to help them get in the best shape of their life. And so if you are a nurse, I would love for you to join Healthcare Strong Academy. If you join before our launch, I believe in a couple weeks, it's free to join now. So I would definitely join now, join for free. And we're going to have courses, we're going to have challenges on there. So one of the most popular challenges is like a 30-day alcohol-free challenge. So just different challenges like that. I'm going to do live coaching. So I used to charge on average $500 a month. I think our lowest program monthly membership is only going to be $20 a month. And I'm going to be
Oh my
doing
gosh.
the same live coaching programs that I did for $500
That's
a
a
month.
steal,
So
y'all.
steal. So if you like deals, or if you did do a program before, now's your chance. And yeah, I'm going to be doing weekly live coaching calls. There's going to be guides in there on how to build your own meal plans, how to know how much protein to eat, and why you should be implementing these healthy habits now so that you can have the longevity and just clarity. The clarity, even in your brain. You know, there's so much junk in our foods now. It's so hard to know like what to eat or how to eat.
It
And so
is.
I just want to make it very simple. And that's why I'm saying like, figure out how much protein to eat. Just stay there. Just, start there. So I talk about these things and implementing things like at your own pace and slowly, because it can be very overwhelming for someone to like get thrown into the fire and do like, there's your workouts, here's your nutrition, here's, so we do things very slowly and at your own pace. So I would love for you to join.
Love that. Well, as we close out, I just want to thank you, Georgie, for joining. I know that there is so much out there when it comes to ways in which you can help your body and help your mind, but being able to be part of a program that's tailored to you as a nurse, I think is just so incredible. Like I said, I wish I had had that when I first became a nurse, but now that it's present, I will definitely be utilizing it in my everyday life. And the other thing too is like like Georgie said, there's always a community and there's people around. I personally struggled so hard with finding that. And in the recent years have, in terms of people to support and lean on when it comes to mental struggles or physical struggles even. But when you put yourself first, that really is where the beauty comes from. And being able to say, I'm prioritizing me today is how you're going to get far, I think. And we don't always do that as nurses, but it's really important to remember that you are a human first and then you are a nurse. So take care of yourself in every way that you possibly can. So Georgie, thank you. This has been a really fun conversation. I know there's so many other things that we could have touched on and talked about, and I hope that we'll get the chance to again. But for now, where can people find you if they want to follow you in your journey, as well as She Can Be Both and Healthcare Strong?
Yes. So you can follow me at Nurse.org on Instagram and all other platforms. And you can find Healthcare Strong at We Are Healthcare Strong and other platforms.
Awesome. And for everybody listening, if you enjoyed this episode, if you found it helpful, please rate and review this podcast. It will help me grow as a nurse podcaster and host. It'll also help Nurse.org reach more listeners. And share it with a friend. Tell them I referred you and see if they could use this information. Thank you again, Georgie, and thank you all for listening.
Thanks for joining Nurse Converse, brought to you by Nurse.org. Help us grow by leaving a 5-star rating and review on your favorite podcast platform. Nurse.org supports nurses with career and education tips, life advice, and breaking news. Thank you for all you do and for being you.